Hello everyone, this is Midlife Music Teacher and I'm Mrs. G. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the mental and physical load of being a teacher in general, but a music teacher specifically. So let's take it from the top. Many times, if someone asks me what I do for a living and I tell them I'm an elementary music teacher, a lot of the responses I get are, "Oh, isn't that fun?" And I won't tell you that it's not fun. It is fun. It is a fun job. However, there is a significant amount of mental and physical load that comes with such a job. Last year, a colleague of mine took this photograph during one of my classes. And on the surface, this is a photograph of me having an engaging lesson with a group of third grade students. But what you don't see in this picture is all of the things that are going on mentally and physically behind the scenes in this photograph. Third grade is one of my favorite grades to teach. Some of my favorite units of study I teach are with third grade. And this particular unit of study is my harmony unit. And we discuss 5 different ways to create harmony. This is my counter melody lesson. And in my counter melody lesson, I use a song called "Oh Be Joyful," which I just love this song. It has a simple melody in the key of C. It has chord progressions, so you could use this song to talk about chords as well. And it offers 2 counter melodies. And so I introduce counter melodies by teaching them the tune, the main tune, the melody, and then I sing counter melody too. So during this part, I'm playing the piano, I'm having them learn the melody comfortably enough while I accompany on the piano, and then I sing the counter melody. So I'm playing chords, I'm playing the melody, and I'm singing the counter melody, to help them to understand a little bit about how a counter melody works and how it is a way to create harmony. Then I teach them counter melody 1, which is a simple counter melody, moves up by step and then down by skip at the end. It uses mostly whole notes, and not only is it easy to sing on solfege, but also we can play it on the glockenspiels. So at the very end of the lesson, they've sung the melody many times now, and they've sung the counter melody 1, so they know how it goes. They can audiate it, and then they come up and play it on the glockenspiels. So what you see in the photograph is the end of the lesson. And in this photograph, I'm playing the chords on the ukulele, while the children sitting in the chairs are singing the melody. And I often sing the melody with them, or at least listen for them singing the melody accurately. The students sitting on the rug are playing the counter melody on the glockenspiels, and I am assessing them. This is towards the end of the unit. I need to assess them on various things. And so what I'm doing in this picture is I'm playing the accompaniment, I'm listening for the melody being sung by the students in their chairs, and I'm watching the 6 students on the floor for their accuracy in playing the counter melody. When those 6 children are done, I walk over to my grade book and I give them all a grade. And then the next 6 children come up to play for assessment. That's a lot of things that are going on at the same time, not only mentally, but also physically. And this is just one moment of one class, one period of one day. So yeah, this is what makes this job mentally and physically exhausting sometimes. Not only that, this class, everyone is engaged in the lesson. Some classes, in addition to all those things, I might also have to redirect any behaviors that might be happening. So you can add that to the list of things that I'm doing at that moment in time. Yesterday, I was talking to a coworker who was once an elementary specials teacher, who became a classroom teacher. And one of the things she said is that when you're a specials teacher, you are always on. There couldn't be a more truthful statement than that. Referring to the picture that I showed at the beginning of this video, you're always on, performing, listening, redirecting, instructing, whatever it may be. And part of the challenge is, I can't say if we don't finish, we'll just finish tomorrow. No, tomorrow I have a whole new 120 to 150 students that I'm going to see. So you're always on. It's 6 45-minute performances a day, pretty much. I've had students ask me, do you like being a music teacher? And I say, well, yeah, I get to sing and play instruments and dance all day long. It is fun. Yes, it's fun, but it is mentally and physically can be overwhelming. I found on Instagram an account called The Teacher's PT, and this account posts some things about what teachers typically go through compared to people in other professions. One of the things they posted, and I've seen this in other articles and other things that I've read, is called decision fatigue. So the average person makes about 35,000 decisions a day, and those are conscious and subconscious decisions, little decisions, bigger decisions. But teachers are making 1,500 educational decisions a day. That's about 4 a minute on top of the 35,000 other decisions that are being made. Because of that number of decisions, it makes your brain have to expend more energy. That account says your energy is finite, and that cognitive load, mental load, is a real thing. The other thing that educators go through is emotional labor. And that means that many times during your day, you have to set your own emotions aside. Whatever you may be feeling or going through, or if a student is trying to get a rise out of you or whatever, you have to suppress a lot of your emotions and just push through. Not only are you making all these decisions, but you have to do so and put your emotions aside. This can lead to a certain type of stress from suppressing your emotions all the time. It creates a type of fatigue that is invisible. Your patience also has limits as well. And part of your limited patience is the fact that you are mentally exhausted and emotionally drained. Many times there's this word called compassion fatigue, where you're constantly caring for others. It just wears on you and you're just tired of it. We are not just teaching our content and our subjects. We are also teaching all kinds of skills that students do not come to school with anymore. We're teaching things like resilience, kindness. We're teaching them to be curious. We're trying to teach them to have skills like confidence and perseverance and not giving up and that sort of thing. To work hard at something, even if you don't necessarily enjoy it, that there is reward in just that. Some of the other things that the teacher's PT posted on their account, mental overload. That happens when you have all this mental load and physical load and emotional suppression and other kinds of stresses. It basically states that your brain struggles to switch off. Your brain struggles to turn off and stop thinking about all those things that it has processed. Conversations, unfinished work, situations that occurred, your brain has troubles shutting off. And I think for myself, that's why I have a lot of crazy school dreams. It's my brain failing to switch off, which happens with this job and this profession. A lot of people struggle also with work-life balance, leaving work at work and just living your life when you're at home for yourself. As I've mentioned before, sometimes being a teacher, it's hard to separate yourself from that. A lot of people feel that teaching is what they do, that's who they are. But it can't be all you are. You have to have a sort of balance, have some hobbies, and have some things that when you are done at work, you are now at home. You have your life on one hand and work on the other hand. And that is a struggle for a lot of people. It was a big struggle for me. I still struggle with it from time to time, but I've learned how to do that work-life balance a little bit more. And then one other thing that this post mentioned, the kids are not going to remember every lesson. They're not going to really remember how your room was decorated. They're not going to remember the assessments that you gave, or the exact spelling words, or the exact vocabulary words. But they are going to remember how they felt in your classroom. They're going to remember enjoying the lesson. They're going to remember participating as a group. They're going to remember that feeling. I am at the point in my career where former students now have children that I'm teaching. Unfortunately, one of the buildings I taught at has been torn down, but a lot of times students will come into the room and they'll remember the room and they'll remember me and they just have fond memories. And I have to remember that sometimes when the situation seems overwhelming and there's just a lot going on, a lot to mentally process, that you're teaching more than just your subject. You're teaching perseverance, you're teaching confidence, you're teaching relationship skills, you're teaching other skills. And that's what they're going to remember, how they felt in your classroom and how they persevered and how they can be proud of themselves. And while it doesn't negate the fact that you still have to make all those decisions and you still have this mental overload, that in the end, if you can look back and say, in the end, it's worth it because these kids appreciate and value and come back years later and tell you how much they loved music and they loved being in your class. Former students will write me a note. I'm so excited that I had you as a music teacher and now my children have you as a music teacher. And frankly, that is something special. It is your way of paying it forward. It is not an easy job. Is it rewarding? Yes, it is. But when people say, hey, you're a music teacher, how fun is that? It is fun, as I said before, but it is not easy. So remembering the point of what it is we do as educators, it's not just about the content. It is about helping children learn and learn how to learn. And so with that, we'll end on a high note. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, click the thumbs up and please be sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.